Hello everyone, welcome to the NN Classroom. Today I'd like to share with you a question, multiple choice again, extracted from 2018 time zone 2. Question number 14, a typical higher level question asking for the concept related to topic 8, metabolism, the process of respiration. It is asking, the following process occur in an aerobic, keyword here, first of all, aerobic respiration, not anything about anaerobic, so which means more steps to be considered, right? And 1, 2, 3 given. The first one, decarboxylation of the pyruvate. So as you need to know that the behind meaning of this decarboxylation, also known as the oxidative decarboxylation, changing the pyruvate to a molecule intermediate called acetyl coenzyme A. So this is what we call a link reaction. So number 2, the diffusion of the protons through the ATP synthase. So this is something to deal with the previous step, that because of the proton pump that accumulates certain proton in between the membranes, or what we call the intermembranous space. So this lead the diffusion of the proton back to the interior through the ATP synthase. So at the end, activate the ATP synthase to produce the ATP. So that's why this is a process what we call the chemiosmosis, right? And the chemiosmosis will directly link to the formation or the generation of the ATP molecule, right? So number 3, so finally, number 3, the phosphorylation of the glucose. So actually, this is going to be at the very first beginning about the process of glycolysis. Glycolysis start with the phosphorylation of glucose, because anything that is being phosphorylated will become activated. So that's why the glucose is said to be activated at the very first beginning by undergoing this process of phosphorylation. So that's why this is the step related to the glycolysis, right? And finally, they're asking for which of the correct sequence of these processes, right? So students, if you still remember, the whole process of respiration starting from the process of glycolysis, LYSIS, which result in the molecules of pyruvate, and pyruvate will then be diffused or get into the mitochondria for further reaction, but beforehand it gets a link reaction, right? Or so-called the oxidative decarboxylation. Afterwards, acetyl coenzyme A is being generated. It will go through a really important cycle, the Krebs cycle, right? So after the Krebs cycle, or after all in all this process, quite a lot of the intermediate is being generated, including the NADH and the FADH2. These intermediates or energy carrier molecules will then go to the final step. We call it the electron transport chain, right? And so the electron transport chain will handle back the energy delivered by those intermediate molecules generated beforehand, and so at the end lead to the process what we call chemiosmosis. And chemiosmosis will then finally lead to the synthesis of ATP, right? So if you are clear about that entire process, supposedly you can get the right answer really quickly. So the first process go with glycolysis, right? So that's why these marks with number 1. And so the next one, which is going to be link reaction, so we have it, right? So that's why that is the choice statement 1. And next we have Krebs cycle, which is not being shown. Continue for the electron transport chain, no. And finally chemiosmosis. So that's why chemiosmosis goes the last, right? So that's why the correct sequence for this question we're going to be 3, 1, and 2. So that's why answer goes to D.